Hey there, shooter. It's finally time for the 500 round update on the Beretta 30X Tomcat. Today we are going to take it apart again and look at how things are wearing. We will also shine some honest light on a few issues as well as easy fixes for each one of those. And then I'm going to demonstrate how it sounds when shooting it suppressed compared to unsuppressed. And I even let someone who has never shot a pistol before take a crack at firing it. It's all here on this episode of Shooting Science. Let's get into it. Here it is, guys. I have not cleaned it yet after its last range session. We are going to do that together. We're going to take it apart. So let's go ahead and do that now. You can even see there's a little surface rust in here. I'm going to clean that off too. A little surface rust on that button. Yeah, so let's talk about the rust actually real quick. So this mag I've already cleaned, but after a while, your mags are going to look like this if you live in a humid area. The coating on here is not the best, but if they look like this, you can fix them. What I do to do that is I get some of this Ops number 9 gun bore cleaner. I'm sure any gun bore cleaner will work, but what I do is you're just going to get a little bit of this on a patch or a cloth like so, and you just rub it on there. Look, there's all the rust, and it's pretty much clean. There's the other side. I'm going to do that. Once you're done with this, you can put a light coat of oil on it to keep it from rusting further. Look at that rust that came off there. All right, then we're just going to dry it. Put a little gun oil on there. There it goes. You're good to go. So that's how you get the surface rust off of the magazines. It's pretty easy. All right, so let's take this thing apart. And you know what's great is this gun is now perfectly reliable. I mean, you can put whatever 32 ACP you want in here and run it. Doesn't matter what the muzzle energy is. This frame can take it. Other than that crappy Fiocchi ammo that's semi-jacketed, don't run that. It'll get stuck in the gun. But other than that, you can run whatever you want. Just have to do the break-in period. All right, so there's the insides. Nothing's broken. This gun is actually pretty good. It's definitely shooting nice and smooth now. I'm pretty accurate with it. The wear is happening on here, and on here you can kind of see. Back here there's some wear on those like lugs, I guess you call them. All right, we're going to clean this up and see if we can see where the wear is happening. All right, before we fully clean it up and I show you the main problem with this gun, let me show you first what it looks like to shoot it a little bit, both suppressed and unsuppressed. On the footage that you are about to see, there is going to be a decibel meter in the background. And the decibel meter will pick up other shots in the range from my neighbors that are shooting unsuppressed handguns. And then you can compare that to what it sounds like when I'm shooting this gun suppressed. This is a Spectre 9 titanium suppressor, and then I'm going to just do my own unsuppressed shots afterwards. So that was helpful to see, and now here we go with some unsuppressed fire from the Tomcat. As you saw there, the decibels went way high. Now it's time to go back to suppressed fire. All right, that was interesting. I hope you guys are getting some good data from all of this. Now I'm going to go back to unsuppressed fire. We're going to fire 2 mags at once, and then I'll show you a target. And then we're going to get back to taking the gun apart and seeing what's inside, seeing how it's wearing. I'll show you a major issue with the gun and how to correct it as well. And here we go. And let's do one more mag, just for good measure. It does get quite gassy. As you can see, here is some gunpowder residue on the back of my hand here. Although I do not have any slide bite, it is still comfortable to shoot. Okay guys, for this next part, I'm going to have a brand new shooter try out the 30X Tomcat. I simply showed her how to grip the pistol, how to stand, how to use the sights, and how to pull the trigger, and she's going to try it now for the first time. So she was aiming at the bottom circle in the center diamond there. Go ahead and give me a comment in the comments below and let me know how you think she did. Now let's pack it up and get back to taking the gun apart. This is something you should all do if you buy one of these. Don't wait. First thing you should do is take this out, put some Loctite on it, and tighten it back in because it comes full of grease. So I'll show you how to do that. So this hinge pin on the Beretta 30X Tomcat has given some people some issues because it comes from the factory full of grease and it can easily back out while you are shooting and it will get sheared off by the slide reciprocating back and forth if you don't do this simple, easy fix. So what we're going to do is we're going to take it apart. I'm going to take this pin out. We're going to clean the grease off and we're going to put Loctite on it and put it back in. This will solve the issue that so many people are having. You don't have to send your gun back to Beretta. You don't have to do any of that. Just follow along with me here and you'll be fine. Okay, look how tiny this screw is. Don't lose it. All right, let's clean this oil and grease off of here. Make sure you take your time and get it all off. Get it all off of there because we want our Loctite to stick and work well and solidify on this screw. Okay, now I'm going to take a Q-tip and really grind it in that empty hole to get all the grease and oil out of that hole as well. Next, we're going to get our Loctite. We're going to shake it up real good. And we're going to put a little tiny dab of it on our little tiny screw. Next, we're going to go ahead and set the screw on the tip of this Torx bit right here to make it easier to install back into the pistol. All right, get the thing into position and carefully stab it into the hole. Careful not to spread any Loctite outside of the hole. Then very gently screw it back in. All right, now we're going to need our little ratcheting screwdriver here to hold down the other side while we torque it all down together. It doesn't need a lot of pressure, but it does need to stay put. Remember, this is the thing holding your barrel on. Once you've got it on there, back together, go ahead and test the barrel function. Make sure it's not binding or anything and that the operation is smooth. Go ahead and put the slide back on and then test the slide for functionality. Make sure it's not hitting anything. Make sure your screw is not going to shear off or your pin is not going to shear off on either side. You're good to go. All right, let's get back to the teardown. Let's clean this gunk out. I'm going to go ahead and take the grips off, which these grips are always getting loose, by the way. So this is a hex bit 5/64. It's really small. For these screws in here, I would recommend putting some Loctite on them. They're really little, so make sure you don't lose them. I always put them in a safe spot when I do this. Can probably clean the back of those too. Also, these screws get kind of rusty as well, so I'm going to clean those screws. I like to do it with the grips off so I don't get bore cleaner on these grips. I don't know how the bore cleaner would react with its clear coat on the grips, but it probably won't play nice, so I like to separate the two before I clean. Yeah, you can see some gun residue on the back of that grip there. There's the inside. First, let's get the rust off of that mag release button right there. What I like to do is get one of these Q-tip things and then just dip it in the gun bore cleaner and let it sit on top of there, and then I'll go with a patch and scrub that off. Another thing is this lever here will get some surface rust on it. I cleaned it earlier. The rust will collect in the little grooves. Gun bore cleaner on a Q-tip works great for that, especially if you can get these spiked kinds. I just got these on Amazon. And you just kind of run it through there like that, and the rust will come off. But yeah, I like to let the gun bore cleaner just kind of sit on all this residue here before I go to wipe it off. You don't really have to clean the grips. I'm just doing it to show you what it looks like because nobody's going to see it. I don't know if it's got any coating on the back. It's definitely a matte coating on the back of the wood. Looks good. Yeah, I'll just leave the other one. But you can see this is some nice wood that they put on here for these grips. All right, let's clean this off. There's the surface rust off of the mag release button. It's not perfect, but it is a lot better than it was. Cool. Let's do the other side. Yikes, that's dirty. It is heavily soiled in there. Now, this part right here is really soiled and really heavy. I've had to coat it multiple times with the bore cleaner. Ran a bore snake through there 4 or 5 times. Try this brass brush real quick. The brass won't scratch the steel. Probably as good as it's going to get. My gloves are all torn up cleaning this gun. Thing will tear your gloves up. So where is the wear happening? All right, well, obviously in the barrel, but you can see some wear here, on the bottom of the barrel there, right here where the slide goes back and forth, right here. This metal is on the edges of this is getting pretty chewed up. This piece right here. And then these take a beating, these little lugs back here. Tons of metal has been shaved off of those. You can see this marks, wear marks all the way down the frame there. And right here, That metal looks, on that aluminum looks kind of chewed up right there. So that is where the wear is happening, but it's not too bad. And the gun is smoother now than it was the day that I bought it. So far it's going well. This thing shoots really nice. Next, we're going to clean this. The first thing I'm going to do to clean this is get some bore cleaner and let it sit on the little surface rust spots in these serrations. I'll let it sit in there for about 10 minutes and come back to it. All right, so now that we've let that soak for a bit, this is like a tool for watches, and kind of just gently push the rusty crud out of the slide. You could also use one of these. This is just a pick, a Craftsman pick, at an angle so that you're not scratching the slide, and just gently. Yep, and you can spend all day doing that. Moving on, under here, I'm going to scrub this out real quick, and then we'll look at the wear. All right, so I got it all cleaned up. The crust in here is very hard to remove. You can see where it's wearing on the bottom of the slide here, and on this right here. There's just a little bit of wear right here from the brass hitting there. Yep. So I'm just going to oil up those areas, put some gun grease on them, and put the gun back together and take it to the range and shoot it some more so that we can get to a 750 round update. Yep, so I'm going to go ahead and put some grease on it, using a little tiny applicator there. Spread that around. That looks good. We're going to set that over here for now. Your finger works good to spread a nice thin coat on everything. Just make sure you wash your hands with your greaser afterwards. Or use a rubber glove. I was using a rubber glove, as you saw earlier in the video, but they just got so torn up. I just figured I'd finish the job like this. Some grease on that high wear area there. All right, all set. Let's put the grips back on before we do the slide. This one has a little bit of rust on it. You definitely want to snug these down, as they do come loose all the time during recoil. This side, you kind of have to go at an angle underneath and then back. Underneath that and then back this way. Before you tighten it all the way down, you do want to make sure that your grip is lined up with the frame. It can get a little sideways. There is room for error there. I like to have an equal amount of space around the grip with the frame there. As you can see, it moves around. That's pretty good. To the slide next. Nice. Just a reminder, due to the tip-up barrel design of this firearm, the slide will not lock back on an empty magazine. Great. One thing I wanted to show too, another subscriber was in the comments asking about this. So the tip-up barrel works in any position, no matter what. So for example, I could have the safety on. I could have the safety on like this. Tip-up barrel works, right? I could have the safety off. Tip-up barrel works. Gonna have the hammer cocked back. The tip-up barrel works. I could have the hammer all the way up. The tip-up barrel works. It works in any position. So no matter what configuration your gun is in, that tip-up barrel is always going to be able to come up. You're going to be able to drop around in there and then close it. All right, I'm going to go shoot this thing some more. I hope that video was useful for you guys. And let me know in the comments below if you've got one of these for yourself yet and what your experience has been. And I'll see you guys on the next one.